Welcome to our lecture on IAS 7 Statement of Cash Flows. In this lecture, we will look at what are cash and cash equivalents. We will spend quite a lot of time on our structure of a statement of cash flows to ensure that you understand the structure. And then we will work through a basic lecture example incorporating all of the important relevant principles. When we look at the type of questions, you should be able to prepare a statement of cash flows based on your direct and indirect method. You need to ensure that you understand the calculations to be able to calculate your cash flows from your operating, investing, or finance activities. It is important that you know that IAS 7 will be incorporated with your groups. Therefore, you should be able to prepare a consolidated statement of cash flows and your notes to your consolidated statement of cash flows in terms of acquisitions, disposals of subsidiaries, and so forth. Then when we look at our accounting principles, guys, it is crucial that you understand your accounting principles. What will the effect be on your different accounting items? And you will identify that I prefer to make use of T accounts when we look at IAS 7. Then you can work through the objective and scope on your own. I want to focus on why do we prepare cash flow statements. We have a manufacturing company, and this company plans to purchase a new machine early 2017 to the value of 8 million cash. The year end is 31 December 2016. Now, the profit after tax for 2016 amounts to 15 million. In our statement of financial position, our bank account indicates that we have 10 million available. Now, when you look at this, 15 million for our profit after tax, 10 million available in our bank account, and they want to buy a machine to the value of 8 million. Now, are there sufficient funds to purchase the new machine? Do you look at your profit after tax or at your bank account? You need to look at your bank account, guys. If you look at your profit after tax, you can indicate, yes, that there is sufficient money available. But guys, when you look at profit after tax, important to remember, your profit after tax is an accounting amount in terms of IFRS. Now, in your profit after tax, we have accounted for depreciation, amortization, possible fair value adjustments. Now, do you agree with me that this is not cash, guys? Fair value adjustments. There can be a significant amount of fair value adjustments recognized in your profit after tax. And therefore, we disclose an amount of 15 million. But guys, this is not cash. Now, when you look at your bank account, yes guys, there is 10 million available and the asset is 8 million. Therefore, a remaining 2 million. But the question that we have is, will this entity have sufficient funds to cover their expenses for the following few months? From an operating point of view, we don't know, guys. Now, this is the main reason why we prepare cash flow statements, to be able to make decisions going forward based on the financial information provided. Now, IAS 7 indicates to us if a company prepares financial statements in terms of IFRS, they have to include your cash flow statement as well. They have to include a cash flow statement. Your statement of cash flow is part of your annual financial statements. Now, if this is a financing entity, meaning guys in our banking industry, or if this is a manufacturing entity, it does not matter the type of industry. All entities have to prepare cash flow statements for decision-making purposes. Now, when we look at the cash and cash equivalents, what are they? you need to be able to identify that this will be cash on hand and demand deposits. Therefore, actual bank accounts as well as cash equivalents. Now, cash equivalents will be short-term, highly liquid investments. Now, what is a highly liquid investment? An investment that they can turn into cash easily, immediately, that is readily convertible to known amounts. Therefore, we need to be able to know how much of cash, and which are subject to an insignificant risk of changes in value. Right, let's work through our cash flow statement in detail and ensure that you understand each step. What is the purpose of our cash flow statement? The purpose is to provide the readers of the financial statements with a reconciliation of the movement in our cash and cash equivalents. Therefore, we are preparing a recon from the opening balance of our cash and cash equivalents to the closing balance of our cash and cash equivalents by means of a cash flow statement. Therefore, guys, a cash flow statement is technically a reconciliation of our bank account. Now, a cash flow statement is divided into three main categories in terms of IAS 7. So category number 1, cash flows from operating activities. Number 2, cash flows from investing activities. And number 3, cash flows from financing activities. Remember, guys, you need to think about the bank account, the cash. Our first category, cash flows from operating activities. Now, what is our operating activities? What is this, guys? This will be the actual business of the entity. Therefore, how many cash, and this is important to understand, how many cash is generated by the actual business, the operations of an entity that we need to calculate. How do we calculate this? We will have to look at our profit and loss as well as our working capital. Now, we will look at working capital just now. Now, when we look at our cash flows from investing activities, category number 2, what is the investing activities of an entity? Now, this will be the assets on our statement of financial position, where we will receive our future economic benefits from. Therefore, guys, investing activities, receiving future economic benefits, cash. Now, remember, there can be a decrease as well when we dispose of or purchase and so forth, guys. We will look at the signs just now. You need to ensure that you understand that this relates to our assets. And number 3, our cash flows from our financing activities. And this will result in our equity accounts as well as our liabilities. Therefore, you need to identify the movement in these accounts. How do we finance our operating and our investing activities? Now we will look at our operating activities in detail. You will remember that I have indicated that we need to use our profit and loss as well as our working capital. Now, when we refer to working capital, this will be the movement in our trade receivables, trade payables, and our inventory. Now, what do I mean with movement? When you include T accounts and you are able to identify that there is a movement and the correlating account will be your bank account, I refer to this bank account amount. And I am going to explain this to you in our example as well. Now, when we look at our cash receipt from customers. How do we calculate our cash receipt from customers? You need to obtain the revenue from your profit and loss statement and then the movement of our trade receivables, the movement, the actual cash into our bank account. How do you do that? You need to prepare a reconciliation of your trade receivables. Now, when we look at our cash paid to suppliers and employees, you need to know how to calculate those. You need to obtain from your profit and loss the actual expenses, being your cost of sales, other expenses, operating expenses. Then important, keep in mind that we are working with our cash only. Therefore, you will have to take out your non-cash items. You should be able to read and understand your profit and loss statement and take out your non-cash items. And then a rule in terms of IAS 7, guys. IAS 7 requires us to disclose separately. Now, this is extremely important, guys. You need to be able to disclose separately the interest paid received, dividends paid received. Therefore, you need to take this out. And when there is any proceeds from sales of subsidiaries, the standard indicates to us that we need to disclose this separately. Therefore, you need to take it out. Now, number 2, and you will identify that I include steps, guys. If you look at your cash paid to suppliers, step number 1, you need to obtain your actual expenses and take out non-cash items and separately disclosed items. Number 2, you need to calculate the movement in your inventory. Number 3, you need to calculate the movement in your trade payables. Now, I am going to explain to you exactly what I mean with movement. Now, when you include a T account, for example, of your inventory, your opening balance will be on your debit side and your closing balance on your credit side. Now, you need to identify purchases, increase your inventory, and sales will decrease your inventory. Now, on either of these sides, guys, you will have a balancing figure to ensure that your T account balances. And that balancing figure will be your movement. Now, when you look at your cash receipts from customers, your steps, you need to obtain your revenue and calculate your movement in your trade receivables. Then the difference between your cash receipts and your cash paid will be your cash generated from operations. Now, important to identify your signs. When you look at your cash receipts from customers, this is a positive, this is an inflow into your bank account. When you look at your cash paid to your suppliers and employees, this is an outflow. It's a payment. Your bank decrease. I am still busy with our cash flows from operating activities. Now, IAS 7 indicates to us that we need to disclose separately our dividends received, our dividends paid, interest received, interest paid, and very important one as well, our income taxes. Now, the way that I remember this is dividends received and paid, number 1, interest received and paid, number 2, and number 3, our income taxes paid. Now, we will look at income taxes paid in our example as well. Let's move on to our cash flows from investing activities. Now, remember, this is where you will have to look at your assets on your statement of financial position. And again, guys, I use the word movement, reconciling amount relating to your bank account. Therefore, what happened with your assets? For example, there can be a purchase of plant and equipment. Important to think about your journal entry. If there's a purchase, you will have to debit your PPE and credit your bank account. If you credit your bank account will decrease. You need to remember your brackets in your cash flow statement. Or there can be a purchase of investments in associates, acquisitions, disposal of subsidiaries, net of cash, loans to entities, and so forth. Guys, you need to look at the assets section of your statement of financial position. Very important with subsidiaries, and please make a note about this one. If there is disposals or acquisitions of subsidiaries, you need to include a separate note. Now, cash flows from financing activities. Guys, you need to please look at your equity, liabilities, movement, again, the bank account. Now I want to discuss the signs in your cash flow statement. Now, what do I mean with signs, guys? When you look at our cash equivalents movement. Now, guys, this is our net decrease in our cash equivalents. If we talk about a decrease, you need to remember to include your brackets. Guys, at the bottom of your screen, guys, net decrease in cash equivalents, you need to remember to include your brackets. Okay? Now, when you look at this, you need to think about the implication on your bank account. Remember, your bank account decreased on the credit side, increased on the debit side. Now I want to indicate to you a very important thing that you need to identify when you read the information in a question. If they have indicated to you that the entity purchased a subsidiary during the year. Now, when you think about your timeline, remember, on your timeline, if we use our opening balance of our bank account for our group, at this point of time, our group only consists out of our parent. Now they indicate to us during the year, let's say for example, in the middle of the year, our parent purchased a subsidiary. At the end of the year, guys, your closing balance of your bank account. Remember, a subsidiary we will have to consolidate. Now, what does this mean? We have to add our parent plus our subsidiary. Therefore, when you need to disclose your cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year, you need to be able to identify that you will have to add the bank account of your subsidiary. But guys, when you look at the timeline, remember at the beginning of the year, we only have the parent. But at the end of the year, we have our parent plus the subsidiary. Therefore, you need to be able to identify that you need to add your subsidiary.